What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punchboard Party. My name is Daniel, and this is another one-take hot take where I'm taking a look at Disney's Gargoyles: The Awakening. Gargoyles is a show that I spent a hot minute with when I was a kid and loved it. I loved Goliath and Xanatos as a villain and the goofy Broadway and just all these characters like Lexington, and I just loved the show and it just captured my imagination as a kid. I love the idea of these gargoyles on buildings coming to life and saving the night. And so we're getting another Ravensburger IP game with this property. So let me know before I get started, did you watch Gargoyles growing up? Did you love it, or was it just meh for you? Or have you caught up on Gargoyles since it's gotten onto Disney Plus? Let me know what you think of the show. Does it still hold up? So again, this comes in kind of a slew of IP games that we've been getting lately. Jungle Cruise, Jurassic Park, even from Prospero Hall we're getting a lot of stuff like the Goonies and the Back to the Future games. Just a lot of these IP games that are surprisingly holding up under scrutiny. There's a lot of good feedback coming out about these games. Some of them not so much, like not Jungle Cruise necessarily or Jurassic Park, but the Back to the Future games are getting quite the good review. And so are things like Haunted Mansion, and the Goonies, which I wasn't sure about, is getting some quite positive feedback. So these games are holding up, and it looks like Gargoyles, to me anyway, is holding up. So this was announced back in February, but I missed it until today. Rodney Smith from Watch It Played put up his tutorial video, and so I just went bananas. Here we go, let's check it out. So this is going, so yeah, before I get into it again, I like asking questions during these hot takes just to kind of keep you engaged and hear from you. So what do you think of this recent slew of IP board games? It's almost like we're back in the 80s again, except now this time they're quite good and playable and enjoyable. So do you have a favorite from the lot? Alien, Fate of Nostromo, Back to the Future, Goonies? Just tell me down below if you have a favorite of these recent IP games. So Gargoyles, it's a cooperative game mostly. It comes with 4 scenarios, and one of the scenarios is one versus many, which is a cool option to have, whereas the rest of the scenarios are cooperative. And basically, it's a tactical skirmish game. You got a grid on the board, and you have, you know, movement points and attack points that you use to get close to enemies and attack them and defeat them. And basically each scenario has its own win condition and its own lose condition that you are paying attention to as you play the game. But 2 standout things, because I'm not huge on kind of battle tactics games, but there's 2 things that kind of still keep me interested here. The toy factor in this game. The board just looks so cool, because basically what you got is you got these kind of cardboard cutout buildings that you piece together and you put out on the board on assigned sections, and it just gives this whole 3D texture to the whole experience, and also adds this terrain level. So as you are going across the board, you have to spend more movement points to get up onto buildings, and this kind of thing. You're able to glide when you're on top of buildings for more movement points. And so there's some really cool things that you do with the terrain, and the terrain just looks really cool. So I'm excited about that. So I'm showing some pictures here of the production quality. What's your take? Do you think the production quality on this game is sweet, especially for a Target release that we're getting in the beginning of August here, August 1st? So is this production quality impressing you, or would you rather see some chunkier plastic buildings or something like that for this game? So you got the buildings, which are cool, and then you also have card play mechanics to just kind of spice up everything in the game. So I love a good card game, and I love having the option of being able to play a card to enhance my movement, enhance my attack. get over some of the hurdles that the game kind of proposes to me at base value. I get to kind of work around and break some rules by playing a card. So I just really enjoy that element, kind of mixes it up, keeps it fresh for me, doesn't leave me feeling restricted by the rules of the game. I get to kind of flex a little bit. So with the components and the kind of diorama flavor of the game and the cards, I'm still into this. I still want to give this a go. And the one thing though that kind of has me like, oh, like what's going on here is that, like I said before, there's rules for movement, but they don't necessarily always make sense. So it costs you more movement to go on top of a building, but it doesn't cost you any more movement points to fight somebody as long as they're in range, even if they're on the other side of a building, which makes no sense to me. There's no sense of clear line of sight or anything like that. It's just as long as you're within range, you can still attack them. And them being on a different level of a building doesn't add to the range that you need to have to attack them. So again, when you're looking at some of the cards that you use, it gives you advantages for range and things like this. And so it makes sense in terms of mechanically and gameplay wise. They probably didn't want to get too technical to allow the cards to work better, but it's just kind of hard to get my brain around why some things matter when it comes to terrain and then other things just don't. So that's a bit of a miss for me, but we can forgive it. We can give it a go. So let me know down below, are you looking at this and you're saying, hey, it's worth the 25, 30 bucks that's gonna be on Target shelves? Sure, I'll give it a go, I'll give it a chance, have some fun with it. Or are you kind of over these IP mass market games? Let me know down below what your thoughts. Are you gonna check out Gargoyles or not? You know what, as soon as I get a chance, I think I'm just gonna run by Walmart here in Canada and see if any of these games are hitting the shelves there and pick it up for a cheap dollar. I'm kind of interested, so I'm excited because of the IP, interested in the game, and we'll see if it flies. So until next time, party people, check out more videos on this channel, subscribe to the channel if you are not already, and until next time, have the best day.